And then the last one in the collector's series was a WH Smith exclusive. Why do I know that? Well, because there's a sticker on the front of it. But also, I bought this tape as well. A friend of mine, I think at the time, he bought Wrestlemania 4. He was convinced it was a better tape to buy. So I bought this, he bought Wrestlemania 4. Me and then another guy went round to his house to watch Wrestlemania 4. And then when we finished that, I went back to his house in the evening and we watched this one. And I'm not quite sure who got the better deal. I think it's pretty much a dead heat who actually got the better deal out of this. Now, this was based on the proviso that people used to write in requesting their favourite matches so that the WWF could put their matches on videotapes and release them. Now, whether that's true or not, I doubt it. Especially by the fact that you listen to some of these matches. First time ever, Hacksaw Jim Duggan and the Ultimate Warrior team up to take on Ravishing Rick Rude and Andre the Giant. Now, I'd like to see that match. Okay. Jimmy Superfly Snuka against the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. They fought at SummerSlam 89, I've already seen it. The Hart Foundation take on the Twin Towers. Yeah, I'd like to see that, you know. That wouldn't be too bad. Coco Beware versus the Brooklyn Brawler. Who in their right mind wanted to see that? Who in their right mind wanted to see that match? Nobody. I guarantee it, nobody. Maybe Mrs. Brawler. I don't know. And there's some other stuff on there as well. So, WrestleMania 4 of that tape, I know this cost me $10.99. His WrestleMania 4 would have cost him $19.99. I saved 10 quid that day. And I think I got the better deal. Now, on top of those, the WWF also released a small series of video called Wrestling Superheroes, or the Sovereign series, that was it. And they released 3 tapes. And these were much shorter. These were 45 minutes in length. So this is the first one, which is Wrestling Superheroes, an action featuring the Legion of Doom on the front. Again, I must have never rewound any of these when I watched them. Fine tape condition. Lots of stuff going on the back there. It's a really action-packed tape of 45 minutes. Whoops. You're listening on earphones, I apologise for that. So you've got the Texas Tornado against Mr. Perfect, the Legion of Doom and the British Bulldog going against Power and Glory and the Warlord. So this is going to be from sort of the tail end of 1990, 1991. Roddy Piper against Rick Martel. Never remember seeing those two get in the ring, so that's quite fun. And then Super Action as Hacksaw Jim Duggan takes on Haku, and the Macho Man takes on the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase again. How many more times did those guys fight? I know DiBiase was chasing the belt, but goodness me. Then we got Wrestling's Greatest Champions. There's the Macho Man on the front. Oh my God, is that match going to be on here again? It says there, Macho Man Randy Savage and lovely Miss Elizabeth. She was lovely, Elizabeth. She really was. It's an absolute tragedy what happened to her. But those of us who watched WCW in the late 90s, NWO Liz, she looks really pretty in there, but NWO Liz was just another completely step in a different direction. But she was the first one who was really, really good at being a wrestling manager, a female wrestling manager. And I don't think anybody else ever got anywhere near her after that. Valets and associates and whatever, great, but there was no manager like Liz. She was brilliant. God bless you. 3 WWF champions being crowned on this tape. The Immortal Hulk Hogan battles The Undertaker. Ultimate Warrior battles Hulk Hogan. Okay, and other superstars include Macho Man Randy Savage, Mr. Perfect, and the Hart Foundation. So 3 champions crowned. So there'll be 3 title changes on this tape in 45 minutes. Going to be a whistle-stop tour. I can't remember that tape at all. And then finally another Hulk Hogan tape. Hulk Hogan's Greatest Matches. Guarantee they're not going to be. 45 minutes long. Fine looking tape, yes. What time is it? How long have I been going on for? I've got no idea. Hulkamania at his best. There's that picture against Sergeant Slaughter again. How's he managed to do that move? I do not know. Earthquake as well, which I was also on the back of another box. Hulk Hogan against Sergeant Slaughter, the Macho Man, Andre the Giant, and the Undertaker. So there's going to be some stuff to do there. Lovely. Right. So that was those particular sort of series. Now I'm just going to go and grab various wrestling tapes and show off those. So we've got Bret the Hitman Hart 2. The best there is. I don't remember having Bret the Hitman Hart 1. Again, he's a guy who sort of splits people's opinion. I didn't mind Bret Hart. I thought he was all right. What have we got? Never before seen footage. Bret Hart against Joey the King Lawler. Quang the Ninja. Irwin R. Shyster, Shawn Michaels, Adam Bomb, Yokozuna. Never seen before steel cage match. Bret Hart against Shawn Michaels. The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. The wrestling champion, Triple Crown, twice over. 120 minutes. If you like Bret Hart, that's going to be... If you don't put it in, he'll just sit there and complain and moan and whinge for a bit. Hitman Hart, Wrestling with Shadows. This is the documentary which was being filmed around the time of Survivor Series 97. If I mention the words Montreal and Screwjob in the same sentence, you will know what I'm talking about. That's the documentary about it, which was being made at the time on Bret Hart's career. Very important time in his life, because he was trying to stay with the WWF, but was being courted by WCW, and the whole fallout after that. Whatever you want to believe. Remember seeing that when it came out. That was actually shown on BBC Two. Not long after it came out. I remember seeing there's a program called Storyville where they used to bring in documentaries from around the world, and it would just happen to be on the one night that I was just sort of checking through. I thought, Wrestling with Shadows. What's that doing on BBC Two? BBC Two? No programs on like that, unless you're doing any painting or anything. Because Stone Cold said so. That's a scary front cover. That's an iconic picture, into that one. Narrated by Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's an 18 as well. Right, okay, lovely. Don't remember anything about this one at all. It's 59 minutes though. As you can see there, he's flipping the referee off. He's back. That's what he was doing. If you don't know the character Stone Cold Steve Austin, then really you're wasting your time with this video. Go away and watch some other stuff. This one here, you'll notice, is in a cardboard sleeve, and this is Hell Yeah, Steve Austin. The Stone Cold saga continues. Why is it in a cardboard box? Well, you'll notice on there's a spine which got a picture of a skull, and this was part of the Stone Cold Steve Austin 6-pack video collection that came out. And there was 5 videos and a T-shirt, and this is one of the videos that came out of there. And I think I got this from one of my local video shops when they were closing down. Choices, I think it was, and they were selling these videos off cheap. And I bought a stack of them because Mrs. Bear was selling stuff at Car Boots. I thought I'll buy a load of these cheap for her, and she managed to sell them. So just an hour looking at some Stone Cold highlights. The best of WrestleMania 1 to 14. WWF compilation tape. This was released in 1998, so 90 minutes long, going through the history of WrestleMania. All 14 are shown on the back of that point. All your favourites are here. I just didn't tell you matches, it just tells you everybody's featured in it. If you like that sort of stuff, then you're going to be very interested. Just, is that Trish? Yeah, Trish Stratus. Yeah. So I happened to notice there's something on my shoulder. I'm quite sure what it was. So that's just be bringing you up to date with WrestleMania history. This one's probably a bit more concise. The history of WrestleMania, hosted by Vince McMahon. Spectacular tribute to the greatest wrestling event of all time. Now, what you've got to remember as well at some point is that during some of these things where they're going through the revisionist history, they tend to sort of block things out, or block people out, or don't make mention of them, or redub some of the commentary. A picture of Andre on the back there. So they're always quite interesting to watch. But again, this covers the first 9 WrestleMania, so this was probably brought out in time for WrestleMania 10. It's 2.25 hours long, so you're getting a fair whack in there. The stars and styles of WrestleMania, celebrities, outrageous antics, highlights and special commentary on the most exciting matches of WrestleMania. I'm guessing, reading that probably with the video dispute with Jesse the Body Ventura, that a lot of the stuff from the first 6 WrestleManias isn't going to be the original commentary. Probably likely to be Gorilla Monsoon and Lord Alfred Hayes. I'm guessing it usually used to be. But I don't know, if you can find it, don't know your early WrestleMania history, probably a good point to start, rather than sitting there watching some of those dreadful shows, early WrestleManias. I say dreadful early WrestleManias. They were finding their feet, weren't they? I mean, if it wasn't for WrestleMania, they wouldn't have anything to do. Now, SummerSlam tends to be some people prefer. WrestleMania is the big event of the year, but there are other events people prefer. SummerSlam was one of my sort of favourites, actually. There's some awesome tag matches, some great matches. It's early days on there as well. And there's the back of that. You can see where we got there. Dibiase and Virgil. That's going to be 1991. Undertaker and Kamala. So that's like to be Wembley at 1992. So this covers the first six SummerSlams, 88 to 93. So SummerSlam 88, Honky Tonk Man, Ultimate Warrior, Coco Beware against the Big Boss Man, Hercules, Jake the Snake, and then the tag match at the end, the Mega Powers versus the Mega Bucks. SummerSlam 89, Superfly Jimmy Snuka against Ted DiBiase, and the tag match from the main event, and the Ultimate Warrior against Rick Rude. There's a couple of belting matches it's missed off there. It's missed off the Hart Foundation Brainbusters matches, missed off the Rougeos and Rick Martel against the Rockers and Tito Santana. It's even missed off the other six-man tag match, the Demolition and Hacksaw Jim Duggan against the Twin Towers and Andre the Giant. All superior, all great matches, and they've gone for Superfly against the $1 Million Man, which was a throwaway match towards the end of the card. SummerSlam 90, Macho Man against Dusty Rhodes and the Ultimate Warrior against Rick Rude. So none of the two title changes they've picked on that one. And I start losing interest there. It's like, not losing it. And it's got other matches from other things anyway. It's just a compilation tape. Now, at various points in my life, I was always very excited to pick up wrestling videos that weren't WWF. At one point, I got rid of all my WWF videos and just collected WCW videos because I was under the impression that WCW was much, much better. And that their videos were going to give better wrestling rather than the cartoony overtones of the WWF. So the first WCW video I buy and show to a friend of mine, the two people that WCW brought over to publicise their video cassette releases in the UK for the first time was a guy called Van Hammer, who was, I think he's just been done for drink driving or something in America. I may be wrong about that, in which case, allegedly, in case his lawyers are watching, who was doing a heavy metal gimmick. And a guy called Johnny B. Bad, who ended up in the WWF as Wildman Mark Merrow and then Marvellous Mark Merrow, who was at the time doing a sort of Little Richard gay act. So the two people they bring in to publicise hard wrestling and proper wrestling and non-cartoon wrestlings were a guy doing a gay stick and a guy doing a heavy metal gimmick. I mean, it's like you couldn't make it up really, could you? But I was always interested in picking up wrestling from other organisations or things I used to read about. So I used to read all the wrestling magazines, so I would read about the NWA, I would read about what was going on in Global, what was going on in Texas, what was going on in Memphis, and all the territories, and what was going on in Japan as well. And I was really excited to see stuff which was either people who went to the WWF afterwards or to WCW afterwards, the NWA or wherever, where they first started. And it was always very exciting. You sort of read something, you back something in a magazine, like 6 months later they'd all of a sudden turn up on WWF television. You go, wow, it's so-and-so. It's like when Ric Flair came to WWF. I knew immediately when I saw that belt who they were talking about. And a friend of mine actually said, is that Sting? I went, no, it's Ric Flair. It's got to be Ric Flair. And it was Ric Flair. But he knew it was Sting. So he knew as well, so that was it. But then again, somebody saw a picture of Lex Luger in a magazine saying, what happened to Hulk Hogan? Probably literally tens of you falling off your chair laughing at that because you know what I'm talking about. So I picked this up. I can't remember where I got it from. This is from World Class Championship Wrestling, which was the Texas area, which eventually became known as USWA, and the Von Erich territory. I'm not going to go into great detail about the Von Erichs. You don't need to be doing that. Go and read up about it. So this is wrestling's classic matches with Jake the Snake Volume 1. Jake the Snake Roberts, my old mate Jake the Snake Roberts. Because I have met Mr. Roberts. I can't honestly tell you at what point in his life, whether he was up or down at that time was, but he was on good form that day. I'll say he was on good form that day. He was very, very nice to talk to. Spent time listening to me. He said, have you come for the photograph or the autograph? I said, I've come for the photograph. And he said, you're a very sick man. So he probably wasn't. He got me nailed down, hadn't he? Really? I can't remember that. Got that photograph somewhere. I'm sure of anyway. But yes, this is from his time in World Class Championship Wrestling, which I think was before he went to WWF, featuring the Von Erichs, Iceman, King Parsons, and many more. I couldn't even tell you who is on this videotape because I have absolutely no idea because I don't recall ever having watched it. So the list of bouts on the back here, we got 52 minutes in total. Mike versus Mike Gallagher, who I've never heard of. Chief Jules Strongbow. Jake and Gino Hernandez. Now, it's an interesting, if you're anybody watching the Dark Side of the Ring series that's been on recently, there's a episode in the first series. Someone appears to be wanting to come in. Episode first about the life and death of Gino Hernandez. I didn't know much about Gino Hernandez at all, but it's a really interesting read, so a really interesting watch. So Jake and Gino Hernandez against Kevin and Mike Von Erich. Jake, Gino Hernandez and Chris Adams, who again, very very briefly, a guy who trained Stone Cold Steve Austin, and also his brother Neil from Stratford upon Avon won a bronze medal for Britain at the judo in 1984. So we've got those three against Kerry Von Erich, Mike Von Erich, and Bobby Poulton. Who's Bobby Poulton? Jake and Kelly Knitsky against Kerry Von Erich and Iceman King Parsons, and Jake and Gino Hernandez against Mike Von Erich and Billy Jack, I'm guessing Haynes. They're missing his second name. So a real mixture of stuff on there. Like I said, I've got no idea if it's any good or not, but it came out of Texas. I'll have to watch it, won't I? A couple of other curiosities I picked up at the same time, and these were great because these were Pro Wrestling Illustrated NWA videos. Again, it had adverts in the magazines. These were videos they advertised in the magazines, and they didn't get released. I saw them as a sports shop, and these videos were in there, and I thought, oh great, finally I picked these videos up. And I remember thinking they like run an hour, God, and I think they're asking $14.99 for them, which is actually ridiculous. So this is Ringmasters, a Great American Bash. You can see there's Nikita Koloff on the front, and he appears to have a hold of a hawk of the Legion of Doom, or the Road Warriors as they were then. And then you can see on the back you've got Ric Flair bleeding. You've got it is the Road Warriors against the Koloffs there. I think that's Ivan Koloff he's got up, and then right down the bottom corner, Magnum TA and Kamala. And this just covers the Great American Bash from 1985. Meet the Kings, the Killers, the Crushers, the Hulks, the Butchers, the Bruisers of American Pro Wrestling. It doesn't actually tell you what organisation it is. It just said all these people on the back. It doesn't even mention Ric Flair. They didn't even mention him by name. How can you not mention Ric Flair? But yeah, it just highlights the great 1985 Great American Bash, I think, tour. Hour long, hosted by the Dean of Wrestling, Gordon Soley, and Bill Apter, who was a senior editor at Pro Wrestling Illustrated. They released two videos. This is the other one, which is Lord of the Rings, Superstars and Superbouts. So you got the fabulous ones, which is Steve Kern and Stan Lane. Then you've got Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and, of course, Ric Flair. And on the back you've got the Road Warriors. You've got, I think, Adrian Street there as well in the middle. And then down the bottom, two guys I don't recognise. I think Adrian Street has a grip on Dusty Rhodes, possibly, because I can notice by the top of the Rhodes head there. I can't remember what was on this tape because I can't remember watching it. But again, it's in immaculately good condition. And again, this was a mid-80s tape. So this is a 1985, this one, then released in 1989. So now it's got a white video box as well, which is always interesting. Not ex-rental. A couple other videos to show you, and then we've got the last dreg of this box before we stop, so you'll be pleased to know. This is Wrestling Superstars Before They Were Famous, with Jerry the King Lawler on the front of it. Now, my guess is that this video came out after Lawler was released from the WWF for a period of time, and I'm guessing this is going to be coming out of the Memphis territory, because that's where his main territory was. That's where he made his name. It's got Jeff Jarrett, and in brackets the Chosen One. So the Chosen One was the gimmick Jarrett was using at the time. Cactus Jack, in brackets Mick Foley. The Master of Pain, The Undertaker. So this is taken from Memphis. The Thrill Seekers, which is Lance Storm and Chris Jericho. Angelica, who was then known as Lita. And it really could not get any more close to the We're Going to Sue You category. Totally unofficial, 66 minutes. Yes, starring some of the biggest male and female wrestlers currently slamming the mats on the WWF circuit. Introduced and linked by the legendary Jerry the King Lawler. This is hard-hitting, no holds barred, and much of this footage has never been seen before in the UK. It's a smackdown. How they mentioned WWF twice on the back of that. How they didn't get sued, I don't know. I've never seen it, so I don't know what it's like. And again, just mentioning the text, so we mentioned World Class Championship Wrestling, which then became the USWA. This is a video on Kerry Von Erich from that era. And it must have made a really cheap printing, because look at the state of the cover on that. The cover's completely gone on this one. Also, there does appear to be a bit of tape rot on that one. That one may not be salvageable. I don't know. But you'd have thought something like Kerry Von Erich, who was incredibly popular before he went to, this was before he went to the WWF in 1990. And he doesn't mention hardly anything about who he has been, who he's fighting about, apart from a guy called Taras Bulba and Al Perez. Al Perez, of course, was meant to be the Black Scorpion, or was the Black Scorpion, until he found out what was going to happen to him, and he decided he didn't want to be the Black Scorpion anymore. This is tag team action from the USWA with Jeff Jarrett on the front. Look at that hair. That's JEFFJARRETT. And down the bottom there is Tony Adams, who was married to Chris Adams and eventually been married to Stone Cold Steve Austin. And this video used to belong to somebody called Gavin Duffy. Gavin, if you're watching, you'll be pleased to know that your videotape is in pretty good nick, mate. And so we got, of course, it's called Tag Team Action, this videotape. So what does it say? The first match you get on there? It's a 24-man battle royal. Jeff Jarrett and Matt Bourne. Matt Bourne played the original Doink the Clown character. They're going against Rotten Ron Starr and Al Perez. You've also got bouts featuring Michael P.S. Hayes. So possibly a Freebirds match on here. The Simpsons. I have no idea whether that's Bart and Lisa or Homer or Marge. Tony Adams and Buddy Roberts in tag team action. United States Wrestling Association, where might is right. Yeah. Don't know. And then a final curiosity out of this box before we get on to the final two tapes is Warlords of the Ring, which again is another one which is infringing so many copyrights. Just looking at that front cover, I am absolutely stunned they got away with it. Pictured there is Ruggy Ronnie Garvin holding Ric Flair in a pinning position from their cage match at Starrcade 87. This is not an NWA video. And also you'll see there's a photograph of the Genius, Lanny Poffo, Randy Macho Man's real life brother, wearing a mortarboard in his Genius gimmick. Again, the world's wildest wrestling. Having looked at the back of this before, and obviously there's a picture there of Savage with the WWF belt. How the hell did this happen? This, I'm guessing, is from the old IWA territory, which ran opposite Memphis, which was run by the Poffos, Angelo Poffo, and then his sons Randy, Macho Man Savage, and Lanny Genius Poffo. They ran that territory for a short period of time before they eventually seceded, and Lawler took them into Memphis, and eventually after Memphis, Savage then learned his trade more and then went to the WWF in 84, 85, I think it was. International Championship Wrestling, not IWA, ICW, that was it. Compilation, you'll see Macho Man Randy Savage taking on Rugged Ronnie Garvin, who was then known as the One Man Gang. Bruiser Brody in a brawl against Nikolai Volkov. And Angelo Poffo squaring off against the Italian Stallion. Now, I'm pretty sure that's not the Italian Stallion who was knocking around as a jobber in the early 90s. It could be, I don't know. I never watched it. And then the Genius Lanny Poffo. So you got a cage match between Randy Savage and Ronnie Garvin, Nikolai Volkov against Bruiser Brody, Angelo Poffo against Tony Fable. Pistol Pez Watley makes an appearance. He was a well-known jobber in the late 80s, early 90s, against Chief Jerry Eagle. You've got Leaping Lanny Poffo against Rugged Ronnie Garvin again, and then a 2-on-3 handicap match, the Nighttown Riders against Ron Sexton, Hoot Gibson, which is the best name I've heard today, and somebody called Mr. Wrestling. I'm not sure whether that's the original Mr. Wrestling or not, I don't know. And then finally, Iron Mike Sharp, who was a perennial WWF jobber, against the Italian Stallion. 90 minutes. I've got no idea if that's any good. And there appears to be some sort of demolition work going on downstairs. What on earth is going on? If I was a caring person, I'd go downstairs and find out what's going on, but I'm not going to. Then we now move on to video exclusives. So these were sort of brought out and put out and sold, and they got a compilation of matches on. This one, though, was an event, and this was the 88 Wrestle Fest. This is where this series of tapes started. Now, this was only seen on this special video. You can actually now watch this on the WWE Network, but this was taped it was an outdoor show. It was a baseball stadium somewhere in the south. And this was then released as a videotape, 2 hours of. I don't think this is the full event. I think the full event is on the network. And You can see Hogan's eating the cagey, and that's the reverse picture from that tape I showed you not long ago. From Milwaukee County Stadium, and it's got the tremendously awful commentary team. I think of Sean Mooney, it's either Sean Mooney or Greg DeGeorge, alongside superstar Billy Graham and Lord Alfred Hayes. Honestly, you will need some headache pills afterwards, because that's the worst combination of commentators I can see. It's got a match and main event between Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant in a steel cage, and featuring other guys such as Ultimate Warrior, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Rick Rude, The Powers of Pain, Jake the Snake Roberts, Bad News Brown, I'm guessing, because he's on the back of the card. So that was a video exclusive. Then, because that was probably so successful, they just used the Wrestle Fest name and carried on releasing straight to video stuff. So we got here Wrestle Fest 90, and you can see we got the Hart Foundation. It's exclusive. And then Hulk Hogan and Mr. Perfect includes features that can't be seen anywhere else. And interesting that you start seeing these things like profile on the Hart Foundation. So what they do is they profile the Hart Foundation, and they show a couple of Hart Foundation matches. And then they show other stuff. And this stuff is basically stuff they shoot specifically for home video releases. So you go to a 4-hour television taping, as you used to do back in the day, where people sit there for 4 hours and they tape like 4 hours of wrestling. And then sometimes, occasionally, to wake the crowd, that they bring out a match between two people you've heard of, not one person you've heard of and one person you've never heard of before. When I say jobbers and sort of enhancement talent, that's what I'm referring to. You know, Hulk Hogan against somebody you've never heard of before. Okay, that's how it used to be. But occasionally they'd bring out, two decent people for a match. You sort of wake up for a bit and go, oh yeah, that'll be good. And then 4 minutes later, the match would be over because you were shooting it for television. They'd hype it on television a week before, and then you get to they'd show like a 2-minute match. And then they put them on release for tape. So on the back of this one here, you've got the Ultimate Warrior Dino Bravo, Hart Foundation against the Rockers, Hart Foundation exclusive interview, and then you've got the Ultimate Warrior and Jake the Snake against Akeem and the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, a special preview, a segment preview with profile of Mr. Fuji, the manager, and then a fan favourite match as the Ultimate Warrior takes on Dino Bravo. They'd already fought on television by that point, live on the main event. In prime time. It wasn't broadcast late tonight, it was a broadcast in prime time slot. Why is that important so many years later? Wrestle Fest 91 with Kerry Von Erich and it looks like Greg the Hammer Valentine and the model, Rick Martel, on the front. So now featuring Manager Cam. Hear and see managers in action. Lovely. I'm surprised so many of these tapes have survived so well. On the back you got Brutus the Beefcake in his barbershop segment, where of course he had to go into after his parasailing accident. And then there's a picture of the Ultimate Warrior. What have we got in this tape for you? Randy Savage hosted explosive WWF extravaganza. His first assignment since his retirement. Try saying that, which I failed to do. Tag team mega match: the Hart Foundation versus the Legion of Doom. There's a very famous match where Hawk of the Legion of Doom, who's really sort of struggling with certain personal issues, he's sort of basically off his face. I'm not sure whether this is the match. This might be the match. Fan favourite match is the Ultimate Warrior takes on Earthquake. Well, they fought again on television a year before. How did you not see that? And that was on Superstars of Wrestling. My God. Video exclusives: the Texas Tornado against the $1 Million Man, and Greg the Hammer Valentine against Rick the Model Martel. Special feature: Brutus the Barber Beefcake shows his unique sense of style. Grooming tips: there's Tootie been on this video. Also the British Bulldog versus Haku, the Rockers versus the Power and Glory, and Randy Savage as the Macho Man of Leisure. How could you fail not to have that in your collection? I'm sort of reading some of this for the first time in years and thinking, how on earth why did I buy this? And then finally, WrestleFest 94, the video event, which tells you this is even more exclusive to home video, because you'd never be able to put this out and make people pay for it otherwise. Includes the WrestleFest rap with Men on a Mission. Wow. That looks like it's Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels on the front. And how long have we got this? So 121 minutes. I found a minute more than usual. What have we got on here? Exclusive matches: Razor Ramon against Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart versus Diesel, Undertaker versus Adam Bomb, Yokozuna versus Mr. Perfect, Macho Man Randy Savage against Rick the Model Martel. The Steiner Brothers versus the Hart Foundation. Now, if memory serves me correctly, that is a match which many people rate. It was tucked away on a video exclusive, but I believe that most people absolutely rave over that match. Marty Jannetty and the 1-2-3 Kid against the Head Shrinkers. And a bonus segment, the King's Corner. Join King Jerry Lawler for exclusive inside editorial on some of the biggest superstars in the World Wrestling Federation. Well, that could be mildly cretinous or amazingly hilarious, because it depends on what you take on Lawler is. 5 to go in this video, we'll be pleased to know. Again, video exclusive, US Rampage 91. This, I think, was released because they brought they did a special event over here in 1991, which is exclusive on Sky, called UK Rampage. And I'm guessing this is their response to try and make a series out of that. So US Rampage 91, outrageous WWF extravaganza, 2 hours long. Tape is in, again, good condition. I'm not showing you all these, I can't remember. I'm trying to whiz through these as quickly as possible. WWF's gone wild. And you got Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and his second run in the WWF as the Dragon. And the gimmick was he blew fire. He actually undertook this is people sort of say about this. Oh well, how stupid to get him dressed up as a dragon. You know what a great technical wrestler he was. How stupid to get him dressed up as a dragon. He actually underwent training. He actually learned the art of fire breathing because that was what he was asked to do as a gimmick. If you're going to do a gimmick properly, do it properly. That's commitment to your art. So what you got on here? Featuring match of the month, The Undertaker versus The Ultimate Warrior. Well, I don't remember ever seeing them have a match, other than from house shows, so that might be an interesting one. Tag team match of the month, The Rockers, the Big Boss Man, take on the Nasty Boys and the Mountie, the man with the identity crisis. British Bulldog versus Mr. Perfect, an exclusive match requested by one of our fans. Haku versus Greg the Hammer Valentine in a match not requested by anybody ever. Plus other great matches, the Dragon versus Demolition Smash. Jake the Snake Roberts versus the Barbarian, and the Texas Tornado versus the Warlord. I think that is not a good one. One to avoid. Must have been good because they brought it back the year later with US Rampage 92. I had this originally, but this is not the copy I had because it's a pretty ratty copy. I look after my stuff. Yeah, it doesn't seem too bad, that one. Now, what we've got on here, there's some really interesting stuff on the back of this one. You may just see at the bottom there. An hour and 50 minutes. Featuring exclusive matches, Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels. This one goes on for about 20 minutes or so. That's a fairly good match. Macho Man Randy Savage versus Repo Man. The Ultimate Warrior and The Undertaker versus Papa Shango and Berserker. Undertaker versus Razor Ramon. Tatanka versus Rick Martel. Exclusive segment. Sensational Sherry shares her special makeup tips. Oh dear. If you've ever seen Sensational Sherry, you may want to skip that one. Bonus trivia test. Test your knowledge of the WWF, and this excites me a great deal. This is what sold me the tape. 40-man Battle Royale. Have you ever seen 40 men in a ring at one time? You will on this video. And they just pull everybody out of the locker room. They don't care who it is, whether people have heard of them or not. But yeah, they did about 6 or 7 of those. I think at least 2 of them made it to tape. I can't remember telling you who won it. So it's the last 3 in this box. So I mentioned US Rampage. This was the event I was talking about, UK Rampage. This was a Sky Movies live event. And I know it's Sky because I was watching the playback of it the other day. And it got Vince McMahon and Roddy Piper on commentary with Sky Movies microphones. And I must have watched that because I haven't been around it. I made it through that one. Or I fell asleep halfway through. And you got Hulk Hogan, the Texas Tornado, and Sergeant Slaughter on the back. So 3 hours, 165 minutes. It says nearly 3 hours of action, 165 minutes. From the London Docklands Arena, which is where they used to go quite a lot over here. I think the main event is Hulk Hogan against Sergeant Slaughter, and there's some other stuff on there as well. And yeah, everybody used to rave about it. Oh, they're coming to the UK, they're going to do a live show in the UK. Brilliant. They came back again and did another one. Where did they get this one from? This UK Rampage 92 from the Sheffield Arena. Part of the Rampage tour graphic. You can see there, this is an ex-rental by looks of it. It's got Blockbuster Video 99p. I didn't buy it from Blockbuster Video. I have absolutely no idea how I acquired this. But again, tape's in good condition. I must have watched it at some point. And what have we got here? So 2.5 hours of action featuring Skinner versus Tatanka, Legion of Doom versus Colonel Mustafa and Dino Bravo, Sid Justice versus The Undertaker, title match between Shawn Michaels and Macho Man Randy Savage for the heavyweight championship. So Savage must have been champion at this point then. The Mountie versus Virgil, Intercontinental Championship match between Bret Hart and Rick the Model Martel, Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus the Repo Man. The main event is the British Bulldog versus Erwin R. Shyster. Not exactly what I would call a stellar card. They'd be really selling that one hard on me to buy that if that was a pay-per-view. And of course you would have to because it was on Sky. And then also they went back a year later to the Sheffield Arena for the final time, and then they chucked out a 96-minute show. 96-minute show? Live on Sky? 96 minutes? What the blooming heck are they playing that? How'd they get away with doing that? Less than 2 hour show. Intercontinental Championship match, Shawn Michaels versus Crush, Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus Lex Luger, Nasty Boy Brian Knobbs versus Head Shrinker Fatu, Doink versus Kamala, Mr. Perfect versus Head Shrinker Samu, Bob Backlund versus Damien Demento, Typhoon versus the Brooklyn Brawler. Jeez. And then Bobby Heenan interviews like Yokozuna and Mr. Fuji. 96 minutes. How the heck did they get away with actually charging for that on Sky? I cannot work that out at all. That's embarrassing. That's a really terrible tape. Wow. And that is it. That's it for box one. There is another box. There's another box. But I hope you enjoyed that. It brought back some memories. Maybe you have some of those tapes. Maybe you can fill in the gaps on my shrapnel encrusted brain as to where some of those things came from and what they were all about. I wish I knew a bit more about some of them, but then again, that video might have been a lot longer if I carried on going. So, all that remains to be saying, on behalf of myself and Trish Stratus, I'd like to say thank you very much indeed for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. There will be a part 2, and I hope you'll enjoy that as well. In the meantime, do take care. Thank you very much indeed for tuning in, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Bye for now.